Hello everyone, I'm Peggy Neely Harris, and this is Peggy's Creative Arts Space Podcast, a place where you get to hang out with us and explore the arts. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you everyone and welcome back. And if you are a first-time visitor, welcome to you too. We invite you to join us just once a week. And during these 30 minutes, we ask that you get to know some vital works going on by very gifted people in your area. Get to know them, connect with them, and see what you can do together to make a difference in your own community. And don't forget, we do workshops and coaching, seminars, on-location studio recording, music and theatrical works, and a little bit of tidbit history about your favorite artists. Well, it's still Women's History Month, and we are still bringing on some very fierce women who are at the top of their game. So today, we invite you to join us with First Lady of Production, Miss Sparkl Pruitt. Well, hello everyone. My name is Peggy Neely Harris, and this is Peggy's Creative Arts Space Podcast. We are the podcast all things art. We simply invite people from all over and have wonderful conversations about how the arts are included in your life, how the arts can be a career, or how the arts can be just a pastime thing. But today, I caught up with a newfound friend, and that is Miss Sparkl Pruitt. Today, and the rest of this month is basically Women's History Month. So I brought on some fierce women all month, and this is another one. We're going to do a twofold with her. We're going to talk about the arts, which she is fully experienced in. And then we're going to switch gears a little later on and talk about her role with the school board in Hazelwood. So please welcome Miss Sparkl Pruitt. Thank you for joining us, Sparkl.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate this.
Thank you so very much. So what I want to do, because we are just basically a chit-chat conversation about the arts and how it works in everybody's lives. Your role as a senior partner and president of business development at Infinity West Inc. is basically a management touring program. Tell us a little bit about that, and we'll talk about your career and your title in a minute.
Sure. So in Infinity West, we manage musical artists as well as promote them through booking their concerts from city to city, but we work nationwide. Currently, I am working on the Maxwell, Anthony Hamilton and Joe tour that has 25 cities to do. So we are, we've been selling out we did our first 3 shows last week in Dallas, Houston, and New Orleans, and all 3 of them have sold out. I haven't looked at the numbers for this week, but I'm very excited to see a full house, especially due to COVID. You know, everybody has been so pinned up in the house all for the past 2 years, it seems like. So I'm excited about being back on the road and doing what I do the best. So within my role, I manage the tour, and that is from top to bottom, just to basically make sure that I have a production manager that I work with, and we make sure that the sound goes up okay, that the lights go up, the stage gets set, all that good stuff, so that everybody can enjoy themselves when the artist actually gets on stage. And if you haven't seen Maxwell perform, or Anthony Hamilton, or Joe, it is a phenomenal show. And I'm so blessed to be able to work with a group of promoters. I worked with several of them individually. They have come together as 8 promoters that have come together to form the Black Promoters Collective. And they not only have the Maxwell tour, but they also have the New Edition tour with Charlie Wilson, and Jodeci has reunited, and they are out there opening the show for them as well. And then next, after these 2 tours are over with, we have Babyface and Kim coming out. So it's going to be a great 2022. But that's only a small part of what I do, because I also, the other artists that I manage, such as just work with on a day in and day out basis, ZAPP, and there are a lot of old school good music that used to be out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so the OJs individually, Mr. Eddie LEVERT, Mr. Walter Williams, Mike Howard, who was a phenomenal motivational speaker, comedian, Joe Torry, Sherman Golden. So those are just a few names that I can drop. Howard Hewitt, the Whispers, that I make sure that they are on the road continuously and, entertaining everyone.
And because of COVID, have you found it to be a little bit rough coming back, or are you guys just overjoyed with just whatever platforms that you can get out right now?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, so part of what I do before the tour even starts is what's called advancing the tour, making sure that we have the right sound company, the right lighting company, and COVID protocols has never been a part of my advancing. So the difference now is every single city and state has a different protocol. Some, you have to have your COVID shots and your vaccination cards in order to even enter the arenas. So yes, I've taken more COVID tests last week than I have ever taken in my life, just to make sure that, we have to be safe back there, because backstage, if the artist gets sick or goes down, then we don't have a job and the tour ends. Justin Bieber just had to take some days off and cancel some dates because he came down, or some people in his camp came down with COVID. Jasmine Sullivan just canceled 2 weeks of their touring because they came down, the whole team came down with COVID. So we are extremely, extremely, extremely cautious to make sure that, we're taking our COVID test, that we're making sure that we wear our masks, that, things are sanitized. Everywhere we go, we have sanitation, we have the sanitizer and the wipes and everything else to make sure that everything is, that we are COVID compliant within our own, to make sure that nobody gets sick. And we're also on a tour bus too. So I'm, certain days out the week, I'm living on a tour bus with 11 other people that I know nothing about their cleanliness or their upbringing or anything. So that's always been an adjustment, but it's fun. I love what I do. And I love to make sure that show gets up and down the road okay, and everybody enjoys themselves in the audience.
So what was your degree in? So what did you start off doing, basically?
My degree has absolutely nothing to do with what I do.
I heard that so much. Even Taraji P. Henson, she didn't even want to be an actor, but look at her now.
Right. She's phenomenal. Yes. It is not. First of all, let me go back. This career that I have, that I love so much, wasn't even my dream or my desire when I was in school. I'm supposed to be in the safaris of Africa, preserving and making sure that the lions and the monkeys are, well taken care of, and, understanding their lifestyles and stuff. So I you're
a long way off, aren't you?
I'm a long way off. I got hooked and addicted to the music business when I was a teenager. I had a great blessing, and somebody asked me to come out on tour with them because I had an idea for them, and I did it. And being on tour with one group, you meet the other group that's opening, and another group and another group. And from there, I've just been able to continue my career. In fact, so much for is, we say this is, Women's History Month. So when I first started with the promoter, there weren't any women doing what I do.
That's why I brought you on to talk about, you are fierce, honey. This is wonderful. This is like pioneering for you, like, right. Whoa.
The guys did not know what to do with me. And I have three awesome people who were my production managers at 3 different times. And, they ended up giving me the name of the first lady of production, because I was the first one working with them to actually run the tours, to do settlement, to make sure that the artists got paid, to make sure all the little nuts and bolts, were in place for our tours to go up and down the road. I took, when I first started, we weren't on a computer system. So I was doing settlement with a yellow pad of paper and a calculator.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So now we have computers and we plug every number in and it just calculates itself and we can keep it moving. But when I first started, there was no such thing as, plugging a number in a computer. We sat there for hours, making sure that every bill that came to us to be paid was correct, that make sure that, checks were written correctly, the whole 9 yards. So It's a totally different world than it was when I first started.
But you're kind of like a pioneer though, right? You know, you just paved your little way in there.
I am. And you know, what's funny is I didn't even really recognize that until recently. And then I see there's a lot of younger people coming on board now, which is phenomenal. So I never really realized the wave, the path that I have made for other people to get in, and for them to know, you know, when people are finding out now that that are in the industry and they say, oh, Sparkl's on the tour, oh, we're good, everything's going to be fine. And I have that reassurance that, you know, everybody is secure, that since I'm on the tour, they know that everything is going to be fine.
There you go.
It's breathtaking. I mean, I'm totally blessed and excited.
Do you have at least input on some of the lyrics? That's kind of my pet peeve thing about women and singers and things like that in band. How do you deal with that? You know, you're out there with those guys.
Yeah, and I've had to toe that road quite a few times. I mean, only because I've had to be mean, I've had to be evil sometimes, and just getting my point across of what needs to get done. Mm-hmm. The newer music that is out, the hip hop that is out now that has you know, the lyrics that does degrade women, that does talk negatively about women, I have taken myself out of that realm. There's artists that I have worked with and been on tour with, as far as being in the studio with them and actually having some say in their lyrics, I have stayed away from that. It saddens me to this day that that language has to be used, because it impacts our youth, it impacts our respect level. And also working with kids in the schools, it affects their respect to adults as well. And it's a very, very thin line as to discipline actions that end up taking place and things like that. And having a daughter, I don't want her to be disrespected. Having a son, if he ever disrespects a woman, it's gonna be some problems, you know. It bothers me that, you know, and it's funny too, because I've been able to have conversations with a few artists that while they may sing the lyrics, they would never think about anybody treating their mother that way or treating their sister that way or saying anything negative about one of their family members like that.
So they're singing to buy into what's really popular.
Right. It makes money. The bottom line is it all makes money. Because trust me, when these things first started happening, remember when we had the little sticker on the albums that say explicit lyrics enclosed? Yeah, so when that started out, I mean, if you even look at TV now, I was looking at TV the other night and they were calling each other the B word. And I'm like, you know, we have allowed so much in our society nowadays that we do not, it's like it's a matter of factly kind of thing. Like, it's okay to disrespect. It's okay to use foul language. And with that being said, you know, it's not. When did it become okay to use that kind of language towards women? When did it, even people in general, when did it become okay and acceptable to call someone out of their name? So for me, I'm never in agreement with that. I mean, I'm not really in the studio with them. I usually get the artists once the records are already out and they're on the charts and we're on tour at that point. Because most artists go in the studios first to cut their records to become, you know, even more popular or get their records on the charts. And then once the tours start is when I actually go out with them.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay. And speaking of your management role, how would your management in the arts have an effect with the way you manage on the board? If, you know, in your school district, I mean, your management skills. So how do you fuse the two together? And how does it work for you?
For a lot of different ways. For one, negotiations, because I'm in negotiations all of the time for our contracts. I mean, I'm always negotiating pricing for the artists that I work with. I'm always negotiating we have what's called a rider, and the rider entails everything that the artist is supposed to receive in every city that they perform in. So the negotiation part is huge when it comes to, you know, giving and taking and pushing and pulling and making sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted, because in contracts, if you don't know how to read a contract, it can really cost you. There's several artists that I know that did not read their contracts and not understanding what the record label was giving, the record label was going to take back. What the record label was allowing, the record label was going to get reimbursed for every dime that they put and spent on that particular artist before it even hit the charts. So the negotiation part is huge, but the management part is very huge as well, because in managing, you have to have a good eye and lookout for your client. So for the school district is having that good management and that good eye to look out for our students, because our students' education is huge, huge, huge. Without our students getting educations, you got to keep in mind, everybody's going to get older one day. Do you want someone to be educated that has gone through school but did not receive the good education that they needed to get, and they're trying to put an IV in your arm?
There you go. Yeah.
And the key word there is trying.
Trying, yeah. Because
they don't have that experience, or they don't have the without the education to do so. So every student that is in school right now is a future leader in my eyes. Somewhere, somehow, some way, they are a future leader.
Of course. Wonderful. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. So before we get deeper into the school, I want to go right back up a little bit and just ask you, while we talk about children wanting to get, not children, but young people mostly, wanting to get into the industry, the entertainment industry that you've been a part of for so long, is there a way to, I guess, make sure that they're not just so gung-ho to be like an A-list artist or whatever, that they forget plan B or plan C or whatever, or plan D? They just go straight to Hollywood or straight to whatever they want to do. And if they don't make it, boom.
That's an excellent question. The biggest way I can answer that is being the artist.
Yes.
Is an upscale and a downscale. And what I mean by that is every artist out there has their peak time, and then they have time when they come back down. For someone who's behind the scenes, such as myself, you'll never see my name on the marquee. You'll never see my name saying, oh, buying tickets to come see Sparkl West Pruitt. But people like me who are behind the scenes, we keep a job all the time.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Somebody who's running those spotlights, somebody who's running the soundboard, somebody who's running the rigs to put the sound up in the air, somebody who's driving the buses to get the artist from one place to another place. Keep in mind that bus driver that is driving the bus, when he gets through with this Maxwell tour that I'm on, he's going to be on somebody else's tour, where Maxwell will be home working on something else. Maxwell will be sitting at home. Whereas we, on the other side, we continually work. If you're a film director, when you get through with that one film, nobody's coming to the movies to see that film director or that camera operator.
There you go.
But that camera operator is always working.
Excellent point. Yes, yes. So it would behoove our young people to not just, have this thing in their head that you're gonna make it, and not plan for something else.
Absolutely. I can tell you many musicians. One of my production directors, production managers, awesome. He used to work with Peggy. He's worked with New Edition. He's worked with several different artists. May he rest in heaven right now. He has done phenomenal works. He started out as a bass player and went to make millions as a production manager.
Wow. See, he had another plan, didn't he?
Absolutely. That bass player could only perform whenever there was a show. As a production manager, he continually performed all year long.
Let's skip on over to the education side before my time runs out, because I do want to have a part 2 with you, if you don't mind, one day, okay? Maybe next month after you win, okay?
Exactly. Thank you. Speak that into the universe.
That's right. So we got about 10 more minutes left. So I want to know, basically, how do you feel about arts and education, and what would you do more of to bring the arts to,
Excellent question. One, I don't feel that there's enough arts and education. And if you see part of my bio, it says just that we need to take music and arts seriously.
Yes.
Everything is not technology. No. When it comes to, let's take music and digress on just the music part of it.
Okay.
Every video game that you see has what attached to it? Some type of music jingle. If you do if you're a, what's that, candy crusher. If you're a candy crusher, every time something chimes, there's a music tone to it somewhere, somehow, some way. To be able to program that music every single time, you have to be able to know that craft. You have to have that talent. People in art, just painting, we've gotten our way from the main parts of art. Marketing is art.
Yes.
Graphic artist is art. We have to put that back into our school system and take it seriously.
Yes.
Kids nowadays, students nowadays are very creative, but if we don't give them those tools and resources to expound on their inner creativity, we're going to lose them. We're going to lose their interest to be in school. Yeah, it's fine that they have to go to math class because that's a given class that they have to take. But we have to be able to allow them to expand on their talent.
As you're running for president of the board, Hazelwood School District, what would you say, what would be the last words you would say to parents about your two strengths, your leadership and management and the arts, and then you coming into the school system and filling these students with, what it takes to not just be plain old robo ABC, child, but thinking outside the box as well? What would be, how would you fuse those two for the parents? Give me a slogan and give me your last pitch for while you're on the show. Here, tell the parents what you will actually do.
Well, being a parent in the district, I can tell you that I have the voice of the parents. I'm in the schools. I know the protocols of the school districts and what it takes to be involved. And amazingly enough, when you build those relationships with our teachers, that person it's like building a relationship with your babysitter when they're an infant. You won't just drop your child off to anybody. So why just drop your child off at the school and just let that teacher that you may not have built that relationship with? That's very, 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 that's the grease in the wheels working together. You have to have relationships with your teachers. And we tend to think that it's the teacher's responsibility from that 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock or 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock when our children are in school. We have to build those relationships. We have to build respectful relationships with those teachers who are taking care of our students all day long.
Wonderful.
And in managing a household, you have to manage that relationship too with those teachers and the staff at the schools as well. So when you say putting the two together from what I do professionally as to what I'm doing for the school board, it's also being a team player, because keep in mind, I'm only one of 7. So while people come and share their complaints and their comments and their suggestions with me, I can only take it back to the board as a suggestion and sell them on the opportunity to have stronger arts programs, to have stronger music programs, to have stronger foreign language programs in our elementary schools, so that our kids are not left behind when it comes to competing in this global environment that we have now. Every time we turn on the news now, we're hearing something about Russia, Ukraine, what happened in China. We have to be able to compete with them. What's going on with our Latinos who are trying to cross over the borders to get a better life. If we can't communicate, and communication is key. In school, our teachers have to be able to communicate with our students in order to teach them the lessons that they need to learn. So communication is key. But if we're not teaching them the aspects of communication by instilling a foreign language in our younger adults, students learn a lot easier and quicker when they in their early infant stages to the time that they are in middle school. By the time they get to middle school, their attention span in education kind of starts going down. So we have to be able to communicate. And communication begins with teaching our youngsters, all of them, a foreign language, and then engaging our parents to be able to have our parents learn a foreign language with our students also. So the school district has a huge weight on them right now, because not only are we teaching our students, but we also have to engage our parents to teach them as well.
Awesome. I love your energy. I love your creativity. I love your educational ideology. I just love everything. Would you be my guest after you win?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you for our special guest. Come back next week. We've got more.
Today's creative tip is vocabulary review.
Remember, we went over 6 very important elements of drama. And let's review them. Body movement, just physical action. Vocal projection, that's the volume in your voice. Interaction, that's doing things with people or things on the stage. Concentration, memorizing your lines and knowing what your character is all about. Facial expression, showing the audience or revealing to the audience how you feel. And imagination, that's the ability or having the faculty to conjure up things that are real or not real. There, if you work those things into your performances, you're guaranteed to do fine. Next week, a whole new section of drama.
Did you know that Millicent B. Shelton is an American music video, television, and film director, and she is from St. Louis, Missouri? Doing what ladies do, working hard, a mom and wife, but keeping her ages secret. She began her career as a wardrobe production assistant on the Sparkl A film Do the Right Thing. She went on to direct music videos for artists such as Mary J. Blige, R. Kelly, Aaliyah, CeCe Peniston, and Salt and Pepper when she was still in film school. In a short time, she established herself as a noteworthy director, having an array of comedies and drama series under her belt, including a motion picture Ride, TV episodes Empire, American Crime, Blackish, Scandal, Everybody Hates Chris, The Bernie Mac Show, Girlfriends, Castle, Men of a Certain Age, 30 Rock, for which she became the first African-American woman to earn a Primetime Emmy Award nomination for Outstanding Directing for a comedy series for episode Apollo Apollo.
Today's parting thought. You know, I once read somewhere that said, creativity is intelligence, having fun. And I thought to myself, I said, what a blessing to have been given creative intelligence. You know, with so much going on in the world today, you never know how the power of creativity can touch someone. Thank God for intelligent fun.
Special thanks to Good Shepherd Art Center, New Awakening UMC Church, My J's Creatives, IH Productions. If you or someone you know would like to advertise or simply have your logo displayed on our podcast, give us a call at 314-521-6388.
Now I heard of a way of living. You'll be blessed simply by giving. If it comes straight from the heart, blessed assured, then you know you have done your part. Given good measure, shaken together, surely runneth over. Love opens up and makes more room. Watch the blessings come right back to you. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.